Welcome to the Declassified Files. I'm your host, Ben Carter. In the heart of the Cold War era, the small town of Kecksburg, Pennsylvania became ground zero for an event shrouded in secrecy and government cover-ups. On the evening of December 9, 1965, a fiery object streaked across the skies above Canada and the northern United States, leaving a trail of bewilderment and panic in its wake. This was no ordinary shooting star. Witnesses reported seeing a large, acorn-shaped object, its surface etched with strange symbols, crash into the woods surrounding Kecksburg. The official report, hastily compiled and released by the government, claimed the object was merely a meteor. However, the residents of Kecksburg were not so easily fooled. Many had seen the object up close, had heard the ominous thud as it penetrated the earth, felt the ground tremble beneath their feet. Their accounts painted a far more intriguing and unsettling picture than the bland explanation offered by the authorities. Within hours, the crash site was swarming with military personnel. The area was cordoned off, onlookers were forcefully pushed back, and stern-faced men in uniforms patrolled the periphery with a vigilant eye. The acorn-like object, whatever it was quickly loaded onto a flatbed truck and spirited away, disappearing into the labyrinthine recesses of the government's classified vaults. Despite attempts by the authorities to downplay the incident, the Kecksburg crash sparked a firestorm of speculation and theories. Was this a downed Soviet satellite, a secret weapon, or perhaps something more extraterrestrial? The lack of concrete answers only served to fan the flames of conspiracy and intrigue. Yet, the mystery of the Kecksburg crash wasn't confined to what the object was, but also what was inside it. Rumors circulated of strange hieroglyphics etched into its surface, of an eerie, pulsating glow emanating from its core. Residents reported unexplained phenomena in the wake of the crash. Radios and televisions malfunctioning, pets acting strangely, an eerie silence descending upon the town. In the ensuing years, attempts to unearth the truth about the Kecksburg crash have met with staunch resistance. Official documents pertaining to the incident are heavily redacted or missing entirely, and those who were there that fateful night have been met with threats and intimidation when they've tried to speak out. The government's persistent silence and evasion have only served to deepen the enigma. What was the object that crashed in Kecksburg? Why did the government go to such lengths to keep it secret? And what did the strange symbols etched into its surface mean? The answers to these questions remain as elusive as the object itself, locked away in a place we can only dream of reaching. The Kecksburg incident stands as a testament to the lengths that authorities will go to keep the unknown at bay, a chilling reminder that there are mysteries in our world that are simply too terrifying to confront. The Kecksburg crash first splashed onto the public consciousness on the evening of December 9, 1965. Numerous citizens across 6 U.S. states and Ontario, Canada, reported seeing a fiery object streak across the night sky, trailing a brilliant plume of sparks. The reports varied, but one thing was clear. Something had fallen to earth in the small Pennsylvania town of Kecksburg. The event unfolded against the backdrop of the Cold War, a time of heightened tension and secrecy between the United States and the Soviet Union. The political climate was thick with suspicion and paranoia. The space race was in full swing, and both superpowers were keen to outdo each other in technological prowess and scientific discovery. It was in this landscape of fear and rivalry that the Kecksburg incident took root. The U.S. government's response to the incident was swift and unequivocal. The military cordoned off the crash site and all eyewitnesses were quickly shooed away. This aggressive show of control was not unusual for the era. It was a time when information was power and secrets were fiercely guarded. The Kecksburg object, a potential trove of scientific and technological knowledge, was quickly whisked away, leaving only questions in its wake. The government's silence about the incident only fueled speculation. Various theories began to circulate, each more fantastic than the last. Some suggested the object was a downed Soviet satellite, a casualty of the space race. Others proposed it was a secret military experiment gone awry. Then there were those who were convinced that it was a vessel from another world, an extraterrestrial craft that had crash-landed in the serene Pennsylvania countryside. As the years wore on, the government's refusal to shed light on the incident only deepened the mystery. Official records related to the crash were either heavily redacted or missing entirely. Eyewitnesses who tried to share their stories were met with threats and intimidation. The more the government tried to bury the incident, the more it seemed like there was something significant to hide. The Kecksburg Crash is a potent symbol of the Cold War era's culture of secrecy and fear. It encapsulates the paranoia and suspicion that permeated every aspect of life, from the highest echelons of government to the smallest American towns. The incident, and the government's subsequent handling of it, serves as a chilling reminder of the lengths that authorities may go to suppress information. What was so terrifying about the Kecksburg object that it had to be erased from public memory? The answer to this question remains hidden, shrouded in shadows and secrecy. The veil of secrecy that had long shrouded the Kecksburg incident began to tear in the mid-1990s when journalist Leslie Kean got involved. She was no stranger to the world of the unknown, having made a name for herself investigating and reporting on unexplained phenomena. Her interest in the Kecksburg incident was piqued by the persistent rumors and whispers that refused to die down, despite the government's best efforts. Kean filed a series of Freedom of Information Act requests, attempting to pry open the government's tight-lipped stance on the incident. The initial response was a stonewall. The government claimed that there were no records related to the Kecksburg incident. However, Kean didn't accept this cold shoulder from the authorities. She kept pushing, and her persistence paid off. A lawsuit filed against NASA eventually led to the release of several hundred pages of documents. These documents, though heavily redacted, contained tantalizing clues. There were references to a mysterious object and cryptic mentions of an operation to retrieve it. The veil was lifting, but the picture was still blurry. Clearly, something had crashed in Kecksburg, something the government deemed worthy of a large-scale operation, but what it was remained unclear. The public's reaction to these revelations was a mix of vindication and frustration. For those who had long believed the government was hiding something about the Kecksburg incident, the release of these documents was a confirmation of their suspicions. Yet the heavy redactions and the government's continued refusal to provide a clear explanation only fueled the sense of mystery and unease. The government's response, predictably, was one of deflection and denial. They maintained that the released documents revealed nothing of significance and that the Kecksburg object was most likely a meteor or a piece of space debris. But such dismissive explanations failed to convince many, especially given the scale of the operation documented in the released pages. As the dust settled, the Kecksburg incident slipped back into the shadows, a half-revealed secret whose full truth remained locked away. Yet the released documents had done more than just stir up old rumors. They had given the incident a tangible reality, transforming it from a local legend into a nationally recognized piece of hidden history. The story of the Kecksburg Crash was no longer just a tale whispered in hushed tones. It was a documented fact, a defiant question mark in the annals of American history. The individuals and organizations involved in the Kecksburg incident are as intriguing as the event itself. Central to this narrative is Project Blue Book, an Air Force program born out of two earlier initiatives, Project Sign and Project Grudge. Project Blue Book, under the command of Major Hector Quintanilla, was tasked with scientifically investigating all claims of unidentified flying objects in the United States. Their role in the Kecksburg case, though shrouded in mystery, is undeniable. Quintanilla, a no-nonsense officer, was known for his skepticism towards UFO sightings. However, his team's involvement in the Kecksburg case and the subsequent secrecy surrounding their findings raised many eyebrows. Was there more to this incident than met the eye? Did the evidence gathered in Kecksburg challenge even Quintanilla's staunch disbelief? Parallel to the Air Force's activities, NASA also appeared to be intimately involved. The documents released years later in response to Kean's lawsuit bore the stamp of this space agency. It's worth noting that by the time of the Kecksburg incident, NASA had already launched several monitoring systems, such as Project Moonwatch and the Satellite Tracking Program, to keep an eye on space debris and foreign satellites. These programs, overseen by a chain of command that reached the highest echelons of the U.S. government, had the capabilities to detect and identify the object that fell at Kecksburg. Another key figure in this story is John Murphy, a local radio reporter who was one of the first on the scene. Murphy, known for his investigative tenacity, conducted numerous interviews and collected an array of evidence. He even produced a radio documentary titled Object in the Woods, but it was mysteriously edited and censored before airing. Tragically, Murphy died in a hit-and-run accident a few years later, fueling speculations of a cover-up. Then there's Stanley Gordon, a local UFO researcher who has spent decades relentlessly pursuing the truth about the Kecksburg incident. Gordon has compiled an extensive database of eyewitness accounts, and his work has been instrumental in keeping the story alive. The chain of command, the hidden agendas, and the obscured roles of these figures and organizations are central to the enigma of the Kecksburg Crash. The sheer number of players, each with their own intricate web of connections, only deepens the mystery, lending further weight to the belief that the Kecksburg incident was more than a mere meteor fall. The evidence surrounding the Kecksburg Crash is as elusive as the incident itself, shrouded in layers of secrecy and intrigue. Eyewitness accounts, while numerous, vary widely in their descriptions of the event. Some recall seeing an acorn-shaped object, others describe a fiery ball streaking across the sky, while still others recall a military presence unlike anything they'd seen before. The physical evidence, if any existed, was whisked away by the military before any independent investigation could take place. However, the memory of the large flatbed truck hauling away the mysterious object has etched itself into the collective memory of Kecksburg. The lack of tangible evidence has only amplified the mystery and spurred a myriad of theories. One intriguing piece of evidence is the declassified Project Blue Book report. Despite its release, the report is full of contradictions and inconsistencies. Quintanilla's report concluded that the object was a meteor, yet the description of the object and its behavior doesn't align with that of a typical meteor. Furthermore, the report contains several redactions, raising the question what information was deemed too sensitive for public consumption. John Murphy's documentary, Object in the Woods, provided another tantalizing glimpse into the incident. His original broadcast was said to include audio interviews with witnesses and officials, as well as his own analysis. However, the version that eventually aired was heavily edited, with key segments removed. The original recording has never been found, leaving us to wonder what truths it might have contained. The NASA documents obtained by Leslie Keene through her lawsuit offer additional insights, yet they too are marked by conspicuous gaps. Pages were missing, sections redacted, and the details of NASA's involvement remained vague. These documents, intended to shed light on the incident, instead added another layer of mystery. Investigative researcher Stanley Gordon's exhaustive collection of eyewitness accounts presents a broader picture of the event. His interviews reveal a consistent theme of intimidation and silence from the authorities. Many witnesses reported being threatened or warned not to speak about what they saw. In the absence of definitive evidence, these fragments of information fuel the ongoing debate. The contradictions, the missing pages, the redactions, all point towards a larger truth, hidden away by those in power. The Kecksburg incident remains a compelling enigma, a story of intrigue that continues to captivate, even half a century later. The search for answers continues, as does the quest to uncover the secrets that lie beneath the surface of the Kecksburg Crash. In the wake of the Kecksburg incident, the media played an indispensable role in shaping public understanding. Journalists were among the first on the scene, and their reports provided the public with their initial impressions of the event. They were the ones who relayed the military's swift arrival, the cordoning off of the woods, and the removal of a mysterious object on a flatbed truck. However, the government's tight control over the narrative and persistent denials of anything unusual occurring began to cast a shadow over these initial reports. The media's portrayal of the incident evolved over time, reflecting the official narrative. Initial reports of a fireball or meteor crash transformed into reassurances that nothing of significance had occurred. This shift was not without controversy, however. John Murphy, the local radio station news director and one of the first journalists on the scene, openly questioned the official explanation. His attempts to present an alternative perspective were met with fierce resistance, culminating in the mysterious disappearance of his original documentary, Object in the Woods. Beyond the media, researchers and investigators played a crucial role in keeping the Kecksburg incident alive in public consciousness. Their tireless efforts to gather eyewitness accounts, scrutinize official documents, and challenge government denials brought to light inconsistencies and gaps in the official narrative. Stanley Gordon's work stands out, revealing a pattern of intimidation and silence imposed on local witnesses. The incident also found its way into pop culture, further shaping public understanding and fueling speculation. The television series Unsolved Mysteries featured the Kecksburg incident in an episode aired in 1990, presenting the event as a UFO crash and government cover-up. This portrayal, while dramatized, introduced a whole new audience to the incident and sparked renewed interest in the case. However, the government's stance remained unchanged. Despite mounting evidence to the contrary, official narratives continued to downplay the incident, sticking to the explanation of a meteor crash. The release of declassified documents, while shedding some light on the event, also seemed to support this narrative. Yet, the redactions and missing pages in these documents only served to strengthen suspicions of a cover-up. In this climate of denial and obfuscation, the Kecksburg incident became a symbol of the hidden, the suppressed, and the unexplained. The government's refusal to acknowledge the incident's strange circumstances only fueled the fire of public curiosity and speculation. The truth of what happened that night in the woods of Kecksburg remains elusive, buried beneath layers of secrets and silence. Yet, the quest for answers continues, driven by the conviction that the truth is out there, waiting to be discovered. Despite the fervor surrounding the Kecksburg incident, not everyone is convinced that the event was anything out of the ordinary. Skeptics and experts alike have presented their own interpretations of the incident, questioning the extraterrestrial narrative and proposing more earthly explanations. One of the most prominent skeptics is James McGaha, an astronomer and retired U.S. Air Force pilot. McGaha has spent years researching the Kecksburg incident, and his conclusions are decidedly more mundane than those of UFO enthusiasts. According to McGaha, the object that crashed in Kecksburg was likely a bolide, a large, brilliant meteor that explodes in the atmosphere. He argues that the descriptions given by witnesses, such as the object's blazing trail through the sky and the sonic boom it caused, are consistent with the behavior of a bolide. The government's response, McGaha suggests, was not an attempt to cover up an extraterrestrial incident, but rather a standard procedure in response to a potential threat. The military's swift arrival on the scene can be explained by Cold War tensions. In an era where a Russian missile attack was a constant fear, any unidentified object falling from the sky would have warranted immediate investigation. Another explanation comes from aerospace expert Robert Young, who proposes that the object was not a meteor, but a fragment of Cosmos 96, a failed Soviet Venus probe. Young points to the timing of the probe's re-entry into Earth's atmosphere, which coincides with the Kecksburg incident, as evidence for his theory. The similarities between the acorn-shaped object described by witnesses and the design of the Venus probe further support this interpretation. Yet, these alternative explanations have not been universally accepted. Critics argue that they fail to account for all the witness accounts, such as reports of the object making controlled maneuvers in the sky, or the alleged hieroglyphic-like markings on the object. Moreover, the heavy-handed response of the military and the subsequent secrecy surrounding the incident continue to raise questions. If the object was merely a meteor or a failed space probe, why the need for such an elaborate cover-up? While these alternate interpretations provide a rational counterpoint to the extraterrestrial hypothesis, they, too, remain unproven. The enigma of the Kecksburg incident persists, a puzzle with pieces that refuse to fit neatly together. The search for answers continues, a testament to the enduring allure of the unknown. The Kecksburg incident, shrouded in its enigmatic air, has parallels and patterns that connect it to other global cases, further deepening the mystery. One such case that stands out is the infamous Roswell incident of 1947. Similar to Kecksburg, Roswell too was a site where an alleged UFO crashed. The U.S. military's involvement, along with the ambiguous statements released, resonate with the pattern of secrecy and misinformation seen in the Kecksburg case. The similarities in the government's handling of both incidents have led many to believe that there exists a concerted effort to suppress the truth about extraterrestrial encounters. Another parallel can be drawn with the British Rendlesham Forest incident of 1980, where military personnel reported strange lights and objects in the forest. The subsequent military cover-up and dismissal of the incident as misinterpreted natural phenomena echo the patterns seen in the Kecksburg case. The similarities in witness accounts, military involvement, and subsequent suppression of information hint at a recurring global pattern. Moreover, these UFO incidents also tie into covert government programs that have come to light over the years. One such program is the United States Project Blue Book, an Air Force operation that investigated UFO sightings nationwide from 1952 to 1969. The Kecksburg incident, occurring in 1965, falls directly within this time frame. However, the Kecksburg case was noticeably absent from the project's public reports, leading many to speculate about its potential inclusion in the classified parts of the operation. The intense secrecy surrounding the incident and the pattern of government involvement in UFO sightings suggest a hidden connection. The Phoenix Lights incident of 1997 is another case that shares remarkable similarities with Kecksburg. Thousands of Arizona residents reported seeing an enormous V-shaped craft silently glide over the state, only to be told by the military that they had witnessed flares dropped by A-10 Warthog aircraft during a training exercise. The familiar narrative of mass sightings followed by an immediate military explanation is a recurring theme that links these incidents across decades. These patterns and parallels present a narrative that is hard to ignore. They hint at a hidden reality, a labyrinth of secrets and potential cover-ups spanning across different governments and decades. While skeptics may wave these off as mere coincidence or misinterpretations, those in pursuit of the truth see them as signposts, guiding the way through the fog of uncertainty that surrounds the Kecksburg incident and others like it. The connections may not provide definitive answers, but they do emphasize the need for further investigation and transparency in exploring these enduring mysteries. As we delve further into the importance of the Kecksburg incident in contemporary times, it's essential to acknowledge the continual evolution of technology and the role it plays in potentially unearthing new evidence. Satellite imagery, advanced computer modeling, and even social media have opened up new paths of exploration that were unavailable during the initial investigation. Coupled with the recent surge in public interest in UFOs and extraterrestrial life, these advancements have the potential to shed new light on the decades-old mystery. In 2015, half a century after the incident, more than 10,000 pages of Project Blue Book files were made available online by the U.S. National Archives. Nevertheless, the Kecksburg incident was conspicuously absent from this trove of documentation, thereby intensifying the aura of secrecy and intrigue that has shrouded it since 1965. This omission has only further fueled speculations and has led investigative enthusiasts to leverage modern tools in their quest for answers. The geopolitical landscape has also evolved significantly since the Kecksburg incident. In a post-Cold War world, the cloak-and-dagger rivalry between the United States and Russia has given way to a more nuanced global order. Governments are increasingly pressured to uphold transparency, and there is a growing push for disclosure of classified documents. The fact that the U.S. Department of Defense confirmed the existence of its Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, AATIP, in 2017 highlights this shift. As such programs come into the light, the hope for fresh insights into the Kecksburg incident is renewed. In 2021, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence in the U.S. released an unclassified report on the investigation of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP. The report refrained from providing concrete explanations for the majority of the 144 sightings investigated between 2004 and 2021. The government's admission of the existence of unexplained aerial phenomena has urged many to re-examine past incidents like Kecksburg under this new lens of acknowledgement. The Kecksburg incident, therefore, continues to hold relevance amidst these developments. Its enduring mystery persists as a beacon for those who believe in the necessity of continued exploration of the unknown and a reminder of the potential for obfuscation and secrecy in the realms of power. The ripples from the event that rocked the small town of Kecksburg in 1965 continue to spread, challenging us to seek answers and to question the narratives we are presented with. As we delve deeper into the mystery of the Kecksburg incident, we are confronted with the profound and thought-provoking realization of the intricate interplay between power, secrecy, and the human quest for truth. This incident, like many others that are shrouded in secrecy, brings into sharp focus the lengths to which those in power may go to control the narrative and keep certain information hidden from public view. The absence of the Kecksburg incident from the vast swathes of Project Blue Book files released to the public only underscores this point. It brings to the surface the uneasy question of just how much information is being withheld and for what reasons. It's a stark reminder of the potential for manipulation and control that exists in the hands of those who hold the keys to such knowledge. Yet, amidst this landscape of secrecy and suppressed information, the human spirit perseveres. The enduring interest in the Kecksburg incident is a testament to humanity's unyielding drive to uncover the truth, to question the accepted narratives, and to seek answers, no matter how elusive they may be. It is a reflection of our innate curiosity and our refusal to be placated by convenient explanations devoid of concrete evidence. In the face of an ever-evolving geopolitical landscape, and in light of recent official acknowledgments of unexplained aerial phenomena, the Kecksburg UFO incident stands as a symbol of a time when such phenomena were not as readily acknowledged. The incident, therefore, serves as both an historical anomaly and a catalyst for the ongoing quest for truth. The Kecksburg incident, while cloaked in mystery, continues to inspire and challenge us. It urges us to keep questioning, to keep probing, and to keep pushing the boundaries of our understanding. The search for truth, after all, is not a destination, but a journey, one that is as revealing about our own nature as it is about the mysteries we seek to unravel. As we reflect on the Kecksburg UFO incident, we are reminded of the complex dynamics of secrecy, power, and the human thirst for knowledge. It is a potent reminder of the lengths we are willing to go in our quest to understand our place within the cosmos, and it stands as a potent symbol of the enduring mystery of the unknown, beckoning us, always, to look beyond the stars and dare to imagine what might lie hidden, waiting to be discovered. Thanks for listening. This has been the Declassified Files. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to the Forbidden Knowledge Network on Patreon. Subscribe now.